The dust tastes like iron, coating the back of your throat with each shallow breath. It's a fine, red dust that seems to seep into everything, your skin, your clothes, even your thoughts. You blink, trying to clear your vision. But the heat haze dances on the horizon, distorting shapes and playing tricks on your eyes. You feel the grit between your teeth as you shift, pushing yourself up onto shaky elbows. The sun is relentless, beating down on exposed skin with a brutal intensity. It's been days, hasn't it? Days since everything changed. You don't dwell on specifics anymore, remembering feels like picking at a wound. They offer little shade, these trees, but they represent something, resilience. A stubborn refusal to surrender to this harsh environment. You notice a small lizard darting between rocks, its movements quick and purposeful. It knows where it's going. You try to recall what you were taught about survival. Something about finding water, conserving energy. The advice feels distant, theoretical now. Your canteen is empty. The leather strap has long since chafed your shoulder raw. You run a hand across your lips, feeling the dryness crack and bleed. A flicker of movement catches your eye. A crow circles overhead, its caw echoing in the vast emptiness. It's not offering help, you know that much. It's simply observing, a dark silhouette against the blinding blue sky. You force yourself to focus on the immediate, one step at a time. You begin walking again, choosing a direction almost arbitrarily. There's no path, no landmark, just the relentless pull of something. Hope, instinct, a desperate need to keep moving. Each footfall is an effort, each breath a small victory. You stumble over a root, scraping your knee, but barely register the pain. You pass a bleached animal skull lying half buried in the sand. It's a stark reminder of the fragility of life out here. A silent testament to those who weren't so lucky. You avoid looking at it for too long. There's enough darkness inside you already. The sun begins to dip towards the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. It's a beautiful sight, almost surreal given your circumstances. But beauty doesn't fill an empty stomach or quench a raging thirst. You find a small overhang beneath a rocky outcrop and collapse against it, seeking what little respite the cool stone offers. You close your eyes, letting the exhaustion wash over you. Images flicker through your mind, faces, places, moments from a life that feels increasingly distant. Were they real? Or just fragments of a dream? As darkness descends, a strange sense of calm settles over you. You've faced worse, haven't you? You've survived this far. Maybe there's something within you, a core of strength, a stubborn refusal to be broken, that will carry you through. The echoes of your past struggles seem to resonate in the silence, reminding you that even in the deepest darkness, there is always the possibility of dawn. You realize it isn't about finding your way back. It's about building a new one from within. A path forged not by memory, but by sheer will and the quiet acceptance of what is. The dust tastes like iron, coating the back of your throat with each shallow breath. It's a fine red powder that seems to seep into everything. Your skin, your clothes, even your thoughts. You blink, trying to clear your vision, but the heat haze dances across the endless expanse of spinifex grass and scrub. Days blur together now, you lost count. You shift against the rough bark of a ghost gum, its pale limbs skeletal against the harsh blue sky. The shade offers little relief from the oppressive sun, but it's all you have. You remember the initial panic, the disoriented stumble after straying from the group, the frantic calls swallowed by the vastness. That was a lifetime ago? Now, a strange calm has settled over you, born not of acceptance, but of exhaustion. You run your hand across your parched lips, feeling the cracked skin pull. The water bottle is long empty. You rationed it for days, sipping only enough to keep the worst of the thirst at bay, but even that's gone now. Your tongue feels thick and useless. A kookaburra laughs somewhere in the distance, a mocking sound that grates on your nerves. You try to retrace your steps, picturing the landmarks you passed, a peculiar rock formation shaped like a sleeping dog, a dry creek bed choked with sand. But everything looks the same, The landscape is a cruel illusionist, offering no clues, only endless repetition. You walk for hours, driven by a primal instinct to keep moving, even though you have no idea where you're going. A flicker of movement catches your eye. A small lizard darts across your path, disappearing into the undergrowth. It's a tiny spark of life in this desolate place, and it stirs something within you, a stubborn refusal to give up. You remember stories your grandfather told you about Aboriginal survival techniques, about reading the land, finding water where others saw only dust. You begin to observe more closely. The subtle curve of the dunes, the direction of the wind, the types of plants growing in certain areas. It's a slow process, and you're weak, but you force yourself to focus. You notice a patch of slightly greener vegetation near a cluster of rocks. Hope flares, a fragile ember in your chest. You stumble towards it, pushing through thorny bushes that tear at your skin. And then you see it, a small seep of water trickling down the rock face, collecting in a shallow pool. It's muddy and brackish, but it's water. You cup your hands and drink deeply, ignoring the gritty taste. The coolness spreads through your body, reviving you. You spend the next few days following the faint trail of moisture, learning to read the subtle signs of life in the desert. You find edible roots and berries, enough to sustain you. It's not a comfortable existence, but it's survival. You are no longer lost, you are adapting. The Outback hasn't broken you. It has reshaped you. The sun sets, painting the sky in fiery hues of orange and purple. You sit on a small rise, watching the stars emerge. They seem brighter here, closer than you've ever seen them before. A sense of peace washes over you. The desert is harsh, unforgiving, but it's also beautiful, ancient, and profoundly humbling. It strips away everything unnecessary, leaving only what truly matters: resilience, resourcefulness, and the will to live. You realize now that getting lost wasn't just about losing your way physically. It was about losing touch with something within yourself. And finding your way back isn't about returning to where you started, but about discovering who you are when everything else is gone. The echoes of survival resonate deep inside you, a quiet strength forged in the heart of the wilderness. The dust tastes like iron, coating the back of your throat with each shallow breath. It's a fine, red powder that seems to seep into everything: your skin, your clothes, even your thoughts. You blink, trying to clear your vision, but the heat haze dances on the horizon, distorting shapes and playing tricks on your eyes. You push yourself up from the cracked earth, wincing as pain shoots through your ankle. It's swollen, throbbing with a dull ache that radiates up your leg. You don't remember how it happened, just disorientation, then this. The sun beats down relentlessly, baking the landscape into shades of ochre and brown. You scan the surroundings. Endless scrubland stretches in every direction, dotted with stunted trees and thorny bushes. There's a silence here that isn't peaceful. It's expectant, almost hostile. A kookaburra laughs somewhere in the distance, a sound that feels mocking rather than cheerful. You feel utterly alone. You start to walk, or rather hobble, favoring your injured ankle. Each step is an effort, and you quickly realize covering any significant distance will be impossible. The landscape offers no landmarks, no signposts, nothing to indicate which way leads back to. Well, anywhere. It's as if the Outback has deliberately swallowed you whole. You notice a small, withered bush offering a sliver of shade. You collapse beneath it, grateful for even that minimal relief from the sun's intensity. Your mouth is parched, your lips cracked and bleeding. The canteen, where is the canteen? A frantic pat-down reveals nothing but empty pockets and the rough fabric of your shirt. A movement catches your eye. A lizard darts across a patch of sand, disappearing into the undergrowth. It's a small thing, insignificant, yet it sparks something within you, a flicker of determination. If Aya can survive here, so can you. You have to. You begin to ration your energy, moving only during the cooler parts of the day, seeking shelter whenever possible. You learn to read the subtle signs of the landscape, the direction of the wind, the flight patterns of birds, the faint tracks left by animals. It's a slow process, but you're learning to listen to the land, to understand its rhythms. You stumble upon a dry creek bed and follow it, hoping it will lead to water. The hope is fragile, easily crushed with each bend in the path that reveals only more dust and rock. But you keep going, driven by an instinct deeper than reason. You find small insects barely enough to sustain you, but they offer a tiny boost of energy. Days blur into nights. The stars become your companions, vast and indifferent witnesses to your struggle. You start talking to yourself just to hear the sound of another voice, even if it's your own. It feels strange, unsettling, but also necessary. You find a small cluster of native berries. Cautiously taste one, then another. They're tart, slightly bitter, but they quench your thirst and provide a much-needed source of nourishment. A wave of gratitude washes over you, so profound it brings tears to your eyes. But it persists, growing clearer with each step. It's a fence line, and beyond that, a road. You quicken your pace, ignoring the pain in your ankle, fueled by adrenaline and hope. You reach the road, collapsing onto the gravel shoulder, weak but alive. A vehicle approaches, slowing down as it sees you. Someone gets out, offering water, help, a lifeline back to civilization. The relief is overwhelming. Looking back at the vast expanse of the Outback, you realize it wasn't just about surviving the physical challenges. It was about finding something within yourself, a resilience, a determination, a connection to the natural world that you never knew existed. You carry the dust on your skin and in your lungs, but also a quiet strength forged in the heart of the wilderness. The dust tastes like iron, coating the back of your throat with each shallow breath. It's a fine, red powder that seems to seep into everything. Your skin, your clothes, even your thoughts. You blink, trying to clear your vision, but the heat haze dances on the horizon, distorting shapes and playing tricks on your eyes. You feel the grit between your teeth as you shift, pushing yourself up onto shaky elbows. The sun is relentless, beating down with a force that feels almost personal. It's not just warmth, it's weight, pressing against your skull. You remember fragments, a vehicle, a wrong turn, the growing realization of being utterly, hopelessly lost. The silence is immense, not peaceful, but oppressive. A vast emptiness broken only by the occasional rasp of wind through spinifex grass. It's a sound that should be soothing, but instead feels like a warning. You scan the landscape, endless plains stretching out in every direction, dotted with scrub and stunted trees. You go, nothing recognizable. Fine shade. Signal for help. Easier said than done when your canteen is almost empty, and the only shade comes from a bush barely taller than yourself. You start walking, choosing a direction at random, driven by a desperate need to do something. The ground is hard-packed and unforgiving underfoot. Each step sends up little puffs of red dust. Your lips are cracked and bleeding. You stumble, catching yourself on a gnarled branch, the bark rough against your palm. A small lizard darts away, disappearing into the undergrowth. A fleeting reminder that life persists even in this harsh environment. You find a dry creek bed, hoping for some sign of water, but it's bone dry. Disappointment washes over you, heavy and cold despite the heat. You sit down, leaning against a sandstone outcrop, closing your eyes. Images flash through your mind, faces of loved ones, memories of cool water, green trees, things that feel impossibly distant now. You notice something then, faint scratches on the rock face beside you. Old markings, almost worn away by time and weather. Aboriginal petroglyphs, depicting animals and symbols you don't understand. A sense of connection flickers within you, a reminder that others have survived here before, navigated this landscape for millennia. You trace the lines with your fingers, feeling a strange sense of peace settle over you. It's not hope exactly, but something quieter, more resilient. An acceptance of your situation, and a determination to find your way back, not just to civilization, but to yourself. You stand up, dust yourself off, and continue walking. the ancient markings etched in your memory. The sun begins to dip towards the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. It's beautiful, breathtaking even, but you know night brings its own dangers. Cold temperatures, disorienting darkness, and the unseen creatures that roam the outback. You keep walking, putting one foot in front of the other, driven by a primal instinct to survive. You realize it wasn't about avoiding fear or discomfort, it was about acknowledging them, accepting their presence as part of the journey. The outback hadn't broken you. It had stripped away everything unnecessary, leaving only what truly mattered: resilience, resourcefulness, and an unwavering will to keep moving forward. And in that quiet realization, a strange sense of freedom begins to bloom. The dust tastes like iron, coating the back of your throat with each shallow breath. It's a fine, red dust, the kind that gets under your fingernails and stains everything it touches. You blink, trying to clear your vision, but the heat haze dances on the horizon, blurring the already sparse landscape. There's no shade, only scrubby bushes offering the illusion of relief. You shift your weight, a dull ache radiating from your ankles. How long have you been walking? Days blur into one another, marked only by the relentless sun and the gnawing emptiness in your stomach. You remember fragments, a vehicle, a wrong turn, the vastness swallowing everything whole. You run a hand across your cracked lips, feeling the roughness of dried skin. There's a metallic tang now, not just from the dust, but something else: blood. Small cuts and scrapes cover your arms and legs, souvenirs from navigating the unforgiving terrain. You don't remember how you got them. You scan the horizon again, desperately searching for any sign of civilization. A fence post, a distant building, anything. But there's nothing. Just endless red earth stretching towards a pale blue sky. The silence is almost deafening, broken only by the buzzing of flies and the occasional rustle in the bushes, sounds that send a jolt of adrenaline through your weary body. You stumble forward, driven by a primal instinct to keep moving. Each step is an effort, each breath a struggle. You focus on putting one foot in front of the other, trying not to think about how far you still have to go, or if there's even anywhere to go. A hawk circles overhead, its shadow briefly offering a moment's respite from the sun. You find a small rock formation and collapse against it, seeking what little coolness it offers. Closing your eyes, you try to recall details, faces, names, anything that might anchor you to the life you left behind. But the memories are fragmented, like shards of glass. You grasp at them, but they slip through your fingers. You notice a small, withered flower growing stubbornly from a crack in the rock. It's a tiny splash of color in a world of red and brown. You reach out and gently touch its petals, surprised by their delicate fragility. A strange sense of peace washes over you. Even here, in this desolate place, life finds a way. You push yourself to your feet, renewed with a flicker of hope. The flower is a reminder, a symbol of resilience. If something so small and fragile can survive in this harsh environment, then maybe, just maybe, you can too. You start walking again, the iron taste still lingering on your tongue, but now accompanied by a faint glimmer of determination. The sun begins to dip towards the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. It's beautiful, yet terrifying. Night is coming, bringing with it colder temperatures and unknown dangers. You quicken your pace, driven by a desperate need to find shelter before darkness falls. The echoes of survival resonate within you, a quiet strength born from facing the void. You realize now that finding your way back isn't just about reaching a destination. It's about rediscovering something within yourself. A core of resilience you didn't know existed, forged in the crucible of hardship. It's not about escaping the wilderness, but learning to navigate the one inside. The dust tastes like iron, coating the back of your throat with each shallow breath. It's a fine red powder that seems to seep into everything: your skin, your clothes, even your thoughts. You blink, trying to clear your vision, but the heat haze dances across the endless expanse of spinifex grass and scrub. Days blur together now. How long has it been? 3, 4? It feels like a lifetime since you last saw anything familiar. You shift your weight, and a sharp pain shoots up your ankle. You ignore it, or try to. Pain is just another constant companion out here, alongside the thirst and the gnawing emptiness in your stomach. The sun beats down relentlessly, turning the air into a shimmering furnace. You remember reading somewhere that the Australian outback doesn't kill you quickly. It wears you down, slowly, methodically, until you simply give up. You scan the horizon again, searching for any sign of life. A distant tree line, a rocky outcrop, even a bird circling overhead. Nothing. Just the vast, unforgiving emptiness. You stumble forward, driven by a primal instinct to keep moving, to keep searching. Each step is an effort, each breath a struggle. The landscape seems to mock you with its indifference. You find yourself instinctively touching the smooth, worn stone in your pocket, a small piece of river rock you picked up weeks ago before everything went wrong. It's cool against your skin, a tiny anchor to a past that feels increasingly distant and unreal. You close your eyes for a moment, trying to conjure up images of green fields, flowing water, the faces of loved ones. But the memories are fading, replaced by the harsh reality of your present situation. You notice something then, a subtle change in the texture of the ground beneath your feet. It's still sand and dust, but there's a slight firmness to it, a hint of moisture. You quicken your pace, hope surging through you like a jolt of electricity, and then you see it. A small patch of green, nestled amongst the red earth, a clump of native grasses growing around a hidden spring. You drop to your knees, ignoring the pain in your ankle, and cup your hands, drinking deeply from the cool, clear water. It's not much, but it's enough. Enough to revive you, to give you strength to carry on. You lie there for a long time, letting the water seep into your parched body, feeling the life slowly returning to your limbs. You realize something as you rest. Survival isn't just about finding food and water. It's about holding on to hope, even when everything seems lost. It's about remembering who you are, where you came from, and what you're fighting for. The Outback tries to strip all that away, to reduce you to your most basic instincts. But somewhere deep inside, a spark remains, a flicker of resilience that refuses to be extinguished. You stand up slowly, testing your ankle. It still hurts, but it's manageable. You look out at the vast landscape once more, no longer with despair, but with a newfound determination. The journey isn't over yet, but you know now that you can survive. You have already survived. And in this harsh, unforgiving land, that is everything. The dust tastes like iron, coating the back of your throat with each shallow breath. It's a fine red powder that seems to seep into everything. Your skin, your clothes, even your thoughts. You blink, trying to clear your vision, but the heat haze dances across the endless expanse of spinifex grass and scrub. Days blur together now, you've lost count. You shift against the rough bark of a ghost gum, its pale limbs skeletal against the harsh blue sky. The shade offers little relief from the oppressive sun, but it's all you have. You remember the initial panic, the disoriented stumble after straying from the group, the frantic calls swallowed by the vastness. That was a lifetime ago? Now, a strange calm has settled over you, born not of acceptance, but of exhaustion. You run your hand across your parched lips, feeling the cracks forming in the dry skin. The canteen is empty. You rationed carefully, meticulously, but it wasn't enough. Each sunrise brought with it the dwindling hope of finding water, a landmark, anything. You scan the horizon again, searching for a sign, a distant hill, a bird circling, even a wisp of smoke. Nothing. A kookaburra laughs somewhere in the distance, a jarring sound that feels almost cruel in its indifference. It's a reminder that life continues, oblivious to your struggle. You close your eyes, and fragments of memory surface. Faces of loved ones, the smell of rain on pavement, the comfort of a warm bed. They feel distant, unreal, like scenes from a forgotten movie. You try to retrace your steps in your mind, but the landscape has become a swirling maze of sameness. Every turn looks identical to the last. You remember advice given before the trek. Always be aware of your surroundings. Pay attention to landmarks. It feels mocking now. The Outback doesn't want you to find your way. You notice a small weathered stone at your feet, almost hidden by the red dust. You pick it up, turning it over in your hand. It's smooth and cool, offering a momentary respite from the heat. A tiny wildflower clings stubbornly to life nearby, its petals a vibrant splash of purple against the muted landscape. These small things, they're what you cling to now. You start walking again, not with purpose, but simply because staying still feels worse. Each step is an effort, your legs heavy and aching. You focus on putting one foot in front of the other, shutting out the despair that threatens to overwhelm you. The sun beats down relentlessly, turning the air into a shimmering furnace. You stumble upon what looks like an old animal track, barely visible in the dust. It's faint, but it's something. A direction. You follow it, hoping against hope that it will lead you to water, or at least to some sign of civilization. The landscape remains unforgiving, but a flicker of something, not quite hope, but perhaps resilience, ignites within you. The track leads to a dry creek bed, and your heart sinks. But then, you notice something glinting in the sand. A discarded piece of metal, rusted and worn, but undeniably man-made. It's a small thing, insignificant really, but it confirms that others have been here before. You are not entirely alone. You continue following the creek bed, and after what feels like an eternity, you see it. A faint green patch in the distance. Trees. Water. A wave of exhaustion washes over you, so intense that your knees almost buckle. You push forward, driven by a primal instinct to survive. As you approach, the sound of bird song fills the air, and the scent of damp earth reaches your nostrils. You collapse onto the soft grass beside the water hole, drinking deeply until your stomach aches. The cool water revives you, washing away some of the despair and exhaustion. You look up at the sky, feeling a profound sense of gratitude. It wasn't about finding your way back to where you started. It was about finding your way back to yourself. It strips you bare, forces you to confront your own limitations, and ultimately reveals the strength that lies within. You realize now that survival isn't just about physical endurance. It's about the unwavering belief in your own capacity to endure, even when all seems lost. And sometimes, finding your way back means accepting that you're forever changed by the journey.